There are currently 26 different magic items in Clash of Clans, but for the first 5 years of the game, magic items didn't even exist at all. But nowadays, they're extremely essential to the game and more of them just keep on getting added. Clash of Clans will be nowhere near where it is today without the addition of these magic items, and today we're going to be going over the complete history of them and how they basically reinvented and saved the game. So first of all, let's give a quick backstory to the time before the magic items came out. At the time, the progression in the game was very linear. I mean, you got resources by either collecting them or attacking other people, and then you used those resources to level up everything in the base until it was maxed out. This took a lot of time and a lot of resources, and the game was feeling a lot like a grind. The only way to speed it up was to use real money to buy gems, so you could either buy resources or buy time, and this honestly was just really boring, and the game was heading in the wrong direction. But what changed that would be the magic items. The first magic items were added in the December 2017 update, and they were a part of the clan games. At the time, they only added 5 books and 3 potions, which were the training, power, and resource potions, and instantly everybody loved them. The main focus was obviously on the books, since they helped solve what is arguably the most hated part of the game, which is the building times. The books instantly finished any upgrade, so therefore people obviously loved them, since you could get the books for free from the clan games and you could skip like 2 weeks of building time for certain buildings. But most importantly, the defenses, since the upgrade time really mattered for those, since you wouldn't want defenses to be down for a long time, and especially in wars, since they could change the outcome of the war, especially key defenses like the Inferno Towers or Eagle Artilleries. But what I think may have been even better than skipping building times was skipping the upgrade times for heroes with the Book of Heroes. This is because heroes are very essential to your offense, and just having one hero down can make your attack 10 times harder. And you will see the Book of Heroes become more important later on as the heroes became even stronger and even more crucial to the game at the higher Town Hall levels. Well, with the Town Hall 16 update, you can argue that the book actually lost value because now actually upgrading the hero itself accomplishes way less, but that is also a complex topic that I'll talk more about in this video if you want to check it out. But anyways, another reason why I think the Book of Heroes was the most important and most game-changing was because of the clan wars. With the Book of Heroes, you now didn't have to miss out on clan wars because your heroes were upgrading, since most serious clans will require you to have all of your heroes available due to their importance in the game. And this overall just made the game much more enjoyable for the average player, as they now got to participate in the wars a lot more and have more fun. Also, I know there is the Book of Everything, which also obviously is able to do the heroes, and I mean literally everything else, but that is also a lot harder to come across and you can't really rely on it like you can with the other books. But it is definitely still super important, and I just wanted to say that so you guys don't think I'm just ignoring it. But moving on from the books for now, we also have the 3 potions that were added. Now, these are pretty straightforward since they work like some of the normal boosters that already existed, but now they were just in potion form and were free to get. And these 3 specifically, I'd say just weren't exactly all that important to some people, including me, since I honestly just couldn't be bothered trying to use them. So I just use them to farm gems now by selling all the extra ones, which honestly isn't even that bad and is definitely an unintended use for them. Like, for example, for someone who only does 2 attacks at a time, the training potion is completely useless, so there's no point in keeping them and you're just better off selling them. Same with the power potion for if all the troops in your army are already the max level for your laboratory. But all of the next potions Supercell added would end up being much more useful, and we'll get to them soon. The next update was in March of 2018, just a few months after the last one, and this update added the trader as well as the 5 runes, the builder potion, and the wall rings. The The trader itself was a little bit controversial since you had to use gems to buy the magic items from him, but as you guys now know, the trader shop is much different and much better, but we'll get to that later on in the video. But the most important things were obviously the new magic items, which were also obtainable from the clan games. And out of this batch, the best items were probably the magic runes because they could fill up your stories completely and they were really good for progression and planning out your upgrades since you could essentially have like 10 million gold in your back pocket to be used at any time. And the wall rings were also really nice since now you didn't have to use any resources on walls, which as you know are very expensive, and you could instead put those resources to more important upgrades. And then finally you had the builder potion, which is arguably one of the most important and most useful potions in the game as it can really speed up some upgrade times. And with the addition of these new magic items, a whole new strategy was kind of being born, and that was the magic item strategy. There were a large number of people now planning out and strategizing on how they could use their magic items, and it just added a new level of depth into the game. And there are also now a ton of videos out there going over some of the best strategies for using your magic items the most efficiently. And just a few months later, in October of 2018, the Clock Tower potion and the 4 hammers were also added into the game along with the Clan War League. The Clock Tower potion was pretty basic and simple, but the 4 hammers were very different. They were essentially just like the books, but they also skipped the upgrade cost, and these are really the best of the best magic items in the game. And they are also unique since the only way you can get them is through the League Shop, meaning you have to play in the Clan War Leagues to get them. But the League Shop also made some magic items more accessible, as now you could buy some potions and the wall rings from the League Shop as well. And this was really good because the builder potion was one of them, and it was also pretty cheap along with the wall rings. So after buying the hammers, you could spend your leftover medals on those items, and it would also help you out with progression. And at this point in the game, around the end of 2018, magic items were really starting to become more and more popular, and soon Supercell would start almost building the game around the magic items. In the December 2018 update, the Hero Potion and Shovel of Obstacles was added, and none of them were exactly too important just at this time, but as I said earlier, the Hero Potion would end up getting a big change with the Eternal 16 update, but we will talk about that towards the end of the video. But right now, the Hero Potion was really just a nice to have that people would use in wars if their heroes weren't already maxed. In spring of 2019, the magic items were moved from the Clan Castle into the Town Hall, and this is what I'd say was kind of the start of the shift towards Supercell focusing more on the magic items in the game, since they had also started putting them in the shop more as special deals, mainly with the magic books. And even as of writing this, there are a bunch of deals on the shop right now for these magic items, and it is no doubt that the magic books were making Supercell quite a bit of money because they were cheaper than buying the gems to finish the upgrades, so people were much more likely to buy the books than buy the gems, which overall led to an increase in revenue for Supercell. And I think this was just one of those things that were beneficial to both parties, since players were able to progress faster in the game than before, plus the magic items also came with new things like the Clan Games and Clan War League, and it was good for Supercell since they could make money off of it and still keep players happy, since there were plenty of other ways to also get the magic items for free. And this profit would also be a reason Supercell will continue to add and improve on magic items in the game. In June of 2019, the Research Potion would end up getting added, and this was another nice to have potion that you could just use as soon as you got it to speed up your researching, since you can only research one thing at a time, and it's not like the Builder Potion where you would have to wait for all of your builders to be busy for it to be worthwhile. And so while it wasn't anything too great, it was nothing anyone could complain about, which made it an overall decent potion to have. But in March of 2020, it got a massive buff so that it would speed up research by 24x instead of the 10x before, and this definitely made it a bit more popular among the players, with some even saying that it was possibly better than the Builder Potion. And at the end of 2020, the Super Potion was also added, and this was a really good way for players to get started with the Super Troops, which are also starting to become a massive part of the game. And there weren't really many changes for a while after this, since the magic items were honestly in a really good spot in the game, and there wasn't really anything else missing for magic items to do, since at the moment they covered all aspects of the game. The only kind of issue was making them a bit more accessible, and that happened in May of 2022 with the addition of the clan capital. This is because of the addition of the raid medals, and this created a new section in the trader shop for the raid medal shop. And here people could buy a bunch of things along with magic items, including pretty much every potion at the time and the wall rings. And speaking of the trader, it had also received some changes, so instead of only 3 items, you now had a large variety of things you could buy, with the most popular probably having being the Book of Heroes for 500 gems before the whole Tunnel 16 update. And the clan capital update was the biggest update in a while when it came to the magic items, but it was definitely a good one that I think everyone could appreciate. And in June of 2023, the Builder Star Potion and Pet Potion were also added. And personally, I've never used the Builder Star Potion since I just don't really even play the builder base enough to actually need it, so for me it's really just a gem farming potion. But the Pet Potion on the other hand was a lot more better, because it was kind of like the research potion with the 24x speed boost. And with all of that, we are now finally onto the last big update, which is Town Hall 16. And overall, magic items weren't really affected except for 2 items. The first one being the Book of Heroes, which like I mentioned earlier, kind of lost its value since the heroes didn't really gain much if you just upgraded them, but the book is still important since it saves the upgrade time. However, it just doesn't feel as good as it used to. And the other change was with the hero potion, which got reworked. In the past, the hero potion only increased your hero level by 5 levels, but now it puts it all the way to the max for its town hall, which is just crazy. This means that you can focus on the hero equipment and don't have to worry about the level as much, since in war you can just use a potion to max your heroes for both your attacks. Obviously this isn't viable to just always do, meaning you have to eventually upgrade your heroes, but it is still a pretty nice thing to balance out the new update. However, it doesn't completely fix it at all. So now that we've talked about all the magic items in the game, how exactly do they change the game forever? Well, progression is completely different now and it is no longer linear like it was in the past. And rushing has been made even more popular and even more viable with the magic items as well, especially with the new reworked hero potion. And magic items also helped create a new sort of economy in the game as well, since pretty much every shop sells magic items now, meaning you can use all sorts of currencies to buy them and access them. And this promotes players to play much more of the game, and overall it really just saved the game from the dark, grindy and boring path that it was going in and made it much more interesting.